Welcome to another episode of Diary of a Wannabe Comedian with me, Belle, a wannabe comedian. You know, when you're in a really bad relationship, in fact, the relationship is probably on the edge of just collapse, and you or your partner, one of you, just tends to just stay out of the house all the time. They just go away all the time. They're never in anything they can do to not be with you. Well, I think that's Keir Starmer's tactic at the moment. I think he's completely fallen out with the UK. I think the relationship he has with the UK is in total meltdown to the point where he just can't be in the country now. He just wants to stay out drinking with his mates every night. So I'm referring, of course, to the fact that he was in India last week, and I believe he's in Egypt now, pretending that he's had something to do with the peace deal in the Middle East. But as we all know, he didn't have anything to do with that. He was not involved. In fact, I believe he was excluded. Him and a number of other countries, to be fair to him. He was not the only person excluded, but, you know, not that long ago, the UK would have been right up there helping, but there you are. So that's not the political bit out of the way, actually. I treated myself to a nice book yesterday. I bought a book with fancy sprayed edges, and it's my favourite book, 1984, because it's come back to my mind, given that this digital ID crap is flying around again. And it is my favourite book. It's not my PIN number, by the way, although I do like that movie, 1408. I'm kidding. That is also not my PIN number. Where was I? Yes, so I am very sad to see this digital ID nonsense back again, and I do think it will be Starmer's downfall, but I guess we have to go through all the process and protests. This is going to be Starmer's poll tax without a doubt. But anyway, it got me thinking about 1984 again, and it is my favourite book, so I went and bought myself a fancy edition. Because I thought, how can it be my favourite book when I don't even have a copy? Because I've just got rid of all the copies I've had. I've had various copies over the year. I had, what did I have? I had a graphic novel version. I had a version in Italian. So I'm thinking, why did I get rid of these? I should just keep them. Every edition of 1984 that I have. But something really fascinating is, and it convinces me that we are living in a sim, and Elon Musk is right. But I was walking home and there was some graffiti on the wall, and it is new graffiti, I can confirm that because it's not far from where I live. And it said, "We living in 1984. Not we living in 1984. And I just thought, I wish. But obviously I do understand what that message was. That was clearly a reference to the digital ID, and so it should be, because whilst in India, old Starmer slipped up, didn't he?
One of the things on digital ID that I do think we need to emphasise and make the case for, frankly, is the great benefits of digital ID. You can see from Estonia the speed with which people can access services that are available to them, which has been transformational, and there's great enthusiasm in Estonia for it. Here in India, I think it's 1 billion people have digital ID. It's been taken up on a voluntary basis in huge numbers. Not least because it means that you can access your own money, make payments so much more easily than is available with others. So I think now we need to go out and make that case of the huge benefits that this will bring. There needs to be a national debate about it.
So there you go. Digital ID will make it easier for us to get our own money. Well, I don't know about you, but I've never had any problem getting hold of my own money. I've had problems having money, but that's a different kettle of fish altogether. I've never had any problems accessing my own money when I have it. So I'm not really sure why I need this digital ID, but I do know that I totally embraced Monzo, which is obviously digital currency. It was a challenger bank, and I regret that. I think we should have all pushed back, because this ability to just switch you off at the touch of a button means you can effectively be depersoned. It's very scary stuff. If you haven't got access to money, you are no one and nothing. Chilling, I think the word is. That's really chilling, but I'm not convinced it's going to happen, and I do think it will be Starmer's poll tax. Speaking of politicians, my politician count since I've moved in is up to 4 now, because I was on the bus today earlier on and went past Parliament Square, and who should I see but Richard Tice. I thought he was very brave actually, because he was looking down at his phone. It's like, most people don't do that in London anymore because it's just too dangerous and you'll get your phone nicked. But yeah, that brings my tally to 4. So the first person I saw was Nigel Farage, actually. So that was a very long time ago when people couldn't stand him. A lot of people still can't stand him, obviously, but he seems to be gaining more popularity these days. But I saw him on polling day. He was obviously going into the polling station I was. And then the next person I saw was one of the Millipede brothers. I don't know which one it was. You know, Ed. What is the other one called? Ed is the net zero nut job, isn't it? I don't think it was him. I think it was the sensible Millipede brother. He was really tall, very tall. And then I saw Rees Mogg recently. I think it was Rees Mogg while I was out with Matt, actually. So I mentioned that on my podcast. And of course, I've seen Chris Whitty. He's obviously not a politician, but he was politicking through COVID. Let's be clear about that. So yeah, that's my count up to 4, maybe 5. I got no comedy today. I had no comedy at the weekend. It was quite sad. We were all messaging in our group saying we miss our Sundays. So I have to think of something else to do now, won't I? Much love and gratitude.